Hello and welcome to episode 68 of the Ski Instructor Podcast. My name's Dave Burrows and I'm the director and owner of Snowpro Ski School based here in Switzerland. Hope you are all well and welcome to a very sunny, I always give you a weather report at the start of these, don't I? But a very sunny and full of high pressure, just waiting for this long period, must be 2 weeks now, period of blue skies and high pressure to kind of clear off and for the winter weather to come. Apparently that's going to happen on Tuesday next week. But long story short, this is kind of always here, this lovely period of weather in November, and then it clears off. Excuse me, and then the winter comes. So yeah, hopefully that will coincide with what will be quite a busy November for me. I've got Swiss Snow Sports kind of professional refresher course to go and do, which should be a nice ski about on the Glacier 3000 in Les Diablerets, and then shortly after that I'm off, amongst other things, doing a bunch of skiing, but also heading over to Hajfell for a week as well, which would be really cool. So yeah, lots going on. Very anxious to get on my skis. I'm kind of complete over the summer now, and I'm ready to go. One of my personal goals for this season is to ski better. I'm in reasonable shape, kind of not injured or anything like that. And yeah, I kind of really want to spend something that I've talked to my colleague Max about a lot this season. I want him to hold me accountable for being on the mountain more, being on snow more, and improving and getting back to a really decent level of skiing for myself personally. So I'm looking forward to that very much this winter, and that's something that certainly is my own personal goal for this winter. Lots of podcasts in the bag waiting to edit. I've been really slow on this one because I've just got so much going on. It's kind of in the middle of the autumn sales season for us, so we're just kind of booking in loads and loads of lessons and getting all the last minute stuff organised logistically for the ski school. But long story short is, yeah, I've been a bit slack on getting this one out. So this interview is one I did a little while ago with Scott Hammond. Scott is based in Norway. He's originally from, I think, London. It probably says so somewhere in the episode, but he lives in Norway now, and he has lived there for a long time. He's a technical director at Hafjell. I'm going to say Hafjell, but that's not how you say it. Hafjell Ski School in Norway. He's also a trainer, educator for Alpine and Telemark for IASI, the Irish Association. And we sat down and had a really, really good chat. A lovely time chatting with Scott. We talked about his background, his journey, how he ended up in Norway, skiing and teaching in Norway, and how it's different from the sort of European Alps where I am normally. What he does with IASI and some of the other stuff. We got into a wide variation of topics as we normally do. So I hope you enjoy this interview. I had a really good time making it. Scott's a great guy, and yeah, for your listening pleasure, here you go, episode 68 with Scott Hammond. Enjoy.
Yeah. So when do you get going there, actually?
I think Hajfell opens as early as possible, which can be sometime in October.
Yeah.
And then Hajfell doesn't really open until November, snow depending. So last year we opened 14th or 16th November.
Okay. Wow. So that's a really long season. If you're going all the way through to April, you're doing a 6-month season. Wow. Yeah. That's pretty serious.
And the snow is normally pretty constant up until about 1st of April, and that's when it starts to form, Easter conditions. It's good snow, good snow constant all the time.
Does it get cold there though, like in the winter?
Yeah.
like what are we talking about? Are we talking about?
Well, I mean, it's rare, but it does get down in the minus 35s.
Wow.
And but the thing is you're in the trees. You're not far from anywhere. It's not like you're in, Val d'Isère where you can be miles from anywhere.
Yeah.
There's very little humidity in the air, so therefore, obviously minus 35 is minus 35, but it doesn't feel as cold as if you were in the Alps, further south.
Yeah, I understand. Okay, because you've got that kind of dry cold.
Yeah. That's one of the things that keeps the snow at such good quality.
Yeah.
We don't get so much ice except in busy periods because the snow doesn't have a chance to turn into water with the friction of the skis. So, it maintains snow crystal. And even if it does get icy when they prep it at night, it's so cold it just pulls all the moisture out the snow, and you get perfect conditions again the next day.
Why aren't we all skiing in Norway?
I'm happy you're not.
It amazes me. It's one of the things that amazes me about ski. By the way, I've already started the recording. I'm just going to kind of edit and chop it around.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
So whatever. And I'll do an intro differently, like normal. But the bit that gets me, which I think is funny, is that these resorts, these mega resorts that draw everybody, and there's all this other really nice skiing elsewhere, but everyone ends up in the same place. I find it really bizarre. I guess it's the power of marketing or general size, rule that seems to happen. But people are drawn to go to these mega places, and there's all these amazing. I've never forgotten skiing in Norway. How good it was. I was just like, why is there no one here?
I think especially with the Brits, there's this constant draw towards, especially toward France. We'll go to France. It's safe. We know France. And people. One of the weird things that we get is that people say, "Oh, how many kilometres of slopes do you have?" We've got 40. Oh, that's not much. And then they go to Espaskili or Porte du Soleil or somewhere like that.
Yeah.
And so, where did you ski? Oh, we skied the same 3 slopes for a week.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're going, well, why?
Yeah.
You've got 650 kilometres of slopes. Oh, but that takes a long time, and you've got to go. I haven't got the energy to sit down for lunch and blah blah blah. So therefore, if you're going to ski 3 slopes, you only need 20 kilometre slopes, don't you?
That's right.
And it's amazing because people are so habitual. That's what they do. Oh, I like that. I'll continue to ski that lift. Whereas you go somewhere in Norway where you can ski the whole mountain alone. And I think a busy day here is like a quiet day in the Alps.
Yeah, I can imagine. Because the guys in Norway, as I understand it, they're also they're partial to a bit of cross country skiing and stuff like that, right? So not everyone does alpine skiing.
But also people do mix it up.
Yeah.
They'll go out and cross country in the morning or vice versa in the afternoon.
Yeah.
There's many opportunities right on your doorstep, and also because of the form of most Norwegian mountains, which are more domed rather than peaked.
Yeah.
We've got it's steeper in the valley and flatter on the top.
Yeah.
And when you get to the top, it's a plateau. There's a lot of here they call them cabins or huts, but they're actually chalets.
Yeah.
They're up the mountain. They're on the top.
Yeah.
So what you get is people drive their cars up to the top, ski out of the cabin, go home for lunch, and then maybe go cross-country skiing straight from the door in the afternoon.
Yeah.
It's a very different way of getting around the mountain.
No, for sure. And I've never ever forgotten that time that I went there. And all of these little huts. You go in, get yourself a drink or something, and something to eat, and these low huts, which I very much remember, and just like how friendly everyone was. It was absolute paradise. I'm just like, this is crazy good. But the infrastructure is not it's not quite the same, is it? Like, it's not like going to, like you say, Val d'Isère or something. Like, it's different.
I think the Scandinavian way of skiing is very much based on family life. You know, you go back to your cabin and have lunch, or, you know, when skiing's done, you don't go out on the lash. You know, there's some resorts with after ski, but normally they finish at 7 o'clock and people just go home. Mm-hmm. You know, you can't have everything like, you know, like the Crazy Kangaroo or Val d'Isère or Verbier or whatever. You know, you need to have some charm to your national skiing, you know, your national sport. You know, the Finns do it different, the Norwegians do it different, the Austrians do it different.
Yeah.
And I think that's the charm to it, because then it would be boring. Why would you go to ski there if you're just getting the same thing as elsewhere?
Yeah, for sure. No, I completely understand. Like, I think it's important to go and experience skiing in different places. You know, I've never forgotten that time I went there. I've never forgotten also the vibe when I went skiing in Romania. That was completely different as well. Yeah, I mean, it's nice to go to different places. You know, I think my favourite kind of pre-season destinations, I love to go to Italy. I love it. I love skiing there, and you know, it's not busy if you go at the right time. I know not everyone has that luxury, but so tell me what brought you to Norway? Like, how have you ended up there? I think the journey is quite roundabout.
I was in the Alps for many years. I did the first 4 winters in Cervinia in Italy.
Yeah.
And then I went over to Verbier, where I stayed for 9 years.
Okay.
And on that path, I did a summer in Santorini, where I met a girl from Lillehammer, which is just 10 miles south of where I live now. And we stayed in Verbier for 5 years together. And we moved back in 2004. And I've been here ever since. She's a local girl, but sadly she passed away 8 years ago of cancer. And now, you know, life goes on. I've met a new lady. She's working with me in the ski school. I've got a 13-year-old daughter. You know, it's a challenge of life, but life goes on. You know, very fortunate to live in a place like Norway, where they very much look after you if you do come up against a bit of a wall. So yeah, but, you know, you can't change these things.
No.
But that's the reason why I'm here, is because of a Norwegian girl and now family with my daughter. It's the only place she's ever lived.
Oh, that's really cool. And what well, that brings up a whole bunch of other questions. So what do you mean by, in terms of the environment? You know, if you come up against a tough situation like that, you know, what do you mean by it's like a supportive place to live?
Yeah, the social support network in Norway is just exceptional. Mm-hmm. I mean, you really are looked after. You know, they see your whatever you want to call it, challenge, bad luck, you know, as something that you should deal with alone. And they make sure you've got roof over your head and food on the table. Mm-hmm. The support network, both you know, mentally, financially, and just that around you is just fantastic. I mean, I couldn't have asked to be in a better place.
Yeah, that's amazing. And your daughter's grown up in Norway?
Yep, she's born here and she's now 13. You know, I haven't lived in the UK since 1991, so there's no point in me going back home away from this. No, because my Norwegian wife died. You know, this is where my life is, and that's more importantly, it's where her life is. Mm.
Yeah. And she goes presumably to the local school. She's, to all intents and purposes, Norwegian, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Amazing.
I mean, the school is 200 metres from the ski lifts. She walks out of school, puts her ski boots on, and she's up on the mountain within 20 minutes.
Amazing. What an opportunity.
Yeah.
Isn't that great? Yeah. I mean, that's when we were doing that a little bit. My daughter's into ice skating currently, so she's not that much. We're not on the mountain that much, but there was a time when we'd come out of school on like a Wednesday. I think they went Wednesday morning, and then Wednesday afternoon we just go skiing all day. It was absolutely brilliant. Like really, really good times, And but now we're more down at the ice rink. But that's probably a podcast for another time. Trying to work out how to ice skate compared to how to ski is there's a lot of similarities, but you find yourself in a lot of places where you wouldn't want to be on a pair of skis.
Yeah, I'm useless on ice skates. I just can't do it.
I'm getting better. It would tell you what it does do, though, which is super interesting. So there's the main two things, and I wrote an article for Phil Brown's magazine about it. And there is a move, right? The crossover move, right? It's how you gain speed, it's how you turn if you're trying to build some speed up. But you find yourself on the inside edge of the inside skate, which you would never be there on a pair of skis, like rarely. And you're balancing on this thing. It feels so precarious. And you're sitting there just going like, oh God, if it breaks away, I'm just going to like smash myself. That, and what was the other one? But also it's like the balance point on a skate is so small that when you go back to a pair of skis, it's just like, wow, this is super easy. I've got like 1.80 meter of ski back and forth here. I can just lean back if I want to, lean forward if I want to. It's a real eye opener for the difference, and it also explains why when you get, if like you're doing a group collective lesson or something, or you've got a bunch of kids, or you've got private, and they say to you, oh yeah, I skate a bit, and you're like, oh fine, this will be the easiest lesson ever, because they just do it.
Yeah.
So many of the moves are really similar. So that was I spent a lot of time doing that last year in this winter to come, because she was really into skating, and it's revelation, really a revelation in terms of like balance sports and stuff.
Well, I think you find I've seen a lot of racers doing rollerblade stuff, and I know that Tina Vader to spend a lot of time on rollerblades, and we see that Riley McGlashan doing stuff on rollerblades, Instagram stuff, and I think there's obviously something to it. Yeah.
How you rotate the upper, like the femur, how that rotates is very similar. It's a very similar move for skiing. Certainly a short skiing anyway, more like a slalom ski. It's a different thing you're doing on a longer ski, I think. But yeah, okay, cool. So that took you there. How? So you were in Verbier before Verbier became really flashy.
Yeah.
Back in real time.
Back there last week.
Oh yeah.
Wow, what a change!
Development's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I was told now that the average building cost is now 45,000 Swiss francs per square meter.
Wow! But that presumably takes in what the cost of the land price.
Cost of land pricing as well would probably live the over obnoxious fancy chalets that they're building with.
Say what you think, Scott.
But, if you've got the money, go ahead and do it. But talk about pricing out the locals.
Well, I think this is the one of the main issues. I know some, I was talking to someone the other day, and he was saying to me that a few people that I know have had to move out of Verbier, like long-standing residents of Verbier, had to move out, and they can't even get into Le Charbes now. Like everyone's having to move down the valley more towards Martigny, just because it's so bloody expensive to live there. I think probably, I don't know. I think if I lived there, if I had to go and work in Verbier, I'd probably live in Martigny and commute. So you have that kind of thing that they've got in the Ulster Valley. You could live in live in Ulster and go and work up in Pilo or something, or go and work in Cornwall for the sake of a short drive or a train journey. You'd have the benefit of like a city life where you're not having to shovel snow out of your driveway every morning to get out, and then you're not that far away from the mountains. But I don't know. It's crazy how little accommodation there is.
Yeah, I mean it's a great place to ski and it's a beautiful place, but it has changed in a way. I mean, I do remember arriving in 95, I think, and walking into an agency, and they literally said, "How much do you want to spend, and where would you like to live?"
Yeah,
and we went through the portfolio and went there, and they went, "Oh, no problem. You can pay monthly or whatever," and then. Just a few years later, it was, this is how much you're going to pay, this is where you can live, and we want it all up front.
Yeah.
Because they could.
Yeah.
And that was a combination of, the marketing that Verbier was doing. There was a lot of ski bums there, and then the balance started to tip, and more money came to Verbier. I mean, it was already there, but it got more and more. And then, one of the reasons why we left was simply that I wanted a house, I wanted a life.
Yeah.
And, working in a ski shop or in the sports centre on an okay Swiss basic salary certainly doesn't pay for mortgage in Verbier.
No, that's well out of whack, that's for sure. That's just not achievable at all. But you could do that when you went to Norway.
Yeah, because here in Norway, what they have is they have primary and secondary residence.
Okay.
So even though I live 5 minutes from in a ski town or 5 minutes from the lake, my house is a primary residence, which gives it a completely different price class.
Oh, okay.
If it's in a secondary or what's called as a holiday home, then there's a different value. The price can go up. So it means that locals can live here and they cannot get priced out.
Yeah.
A friend of mine lives in the prime location in Hafjell. He lives directly opposite, but he lives in a house that cannot be used as a secondary residence.
Yeah. That's interesting. They did the same. They did the same in this valley here. It's not quite the same in some of the other villages, especially on the French side, where they've just gone crazy with selling apartments to people who use them for 1 or 2 weeks a year. And so you've got this kind of dead empty village in some places. But here they put a stop on authorisations for secondary residences because they want people to live here.
They call it the Crans-Montana syndrome from the 80s, where 70% of Crans-Montana was cold beds.
Yeah.
That's happening in Verbier.
Yeah, well, it's happening in a lot of places. So I think I've mentioned this on the podcast before, but the place where I first came to when I first came to the region was Hajfell in France, and the development there is crazy. Like, you can't even see the fields anymore. It used to be like a charming little alpine village. Now it's just everywhere you see apartments, and they're all being sold to people that use them for like 1 or 2 weeks a year. And it's a shame, in my opinion, but I don't know how you get away with that, because someone was explaining to me this the other day. They were sort of saying to me, well, he was talking about a farmer he knew, or a kid inherited a farm, say, and he has no interest in raising cows or managing cattle or whatever. So, that's what the grandparent did. So he's ended up with this huge farm, and there is the possibility for him to take a field that he's got right in the middle of somewhere and to say, to get an authorization to build on that field. And he then sells that to the developer with an authorization for use on it. And that's like a once in a, while that opportunity to develop that field exists, it's a limited window of time to be able to sell that field off, because if they change the zoning again, what happens is that guy loses his opportunity to sell that field for 3 million francs or whatever, and it goes back to being an agricultural field which has limited value, and he doesn't want to raise cows, he doesn't need the field, so he's stuffed, and that is essentially why there's all this development going on. It's like there is this opportunity to really cash out of these farms that your granddad left you, and it's kind of what they're doing. You know, who would, I suppose, if you're not interested in farming, who wouldn't turn down that opportunity?
Yeah.
Right. So once in a generation time to make, you know, wealth that you can pass on through your family.
Yeah. I mean, you know, you given the choice, do you want 3 million francs or do you want to get up at 5 a.m. and muck out cows?
Yeah, exactly.
I know which one I would take.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, I don't know what you do about that, because you've still got to have the agriculture. Someone's still got to do the farming.
Yeah.
You know, there's no cows. There's no abundant cheese. You know, it's a really tricky one, but that's going on all over the place.
Yeah.
All over the Alps. Yeah. Okay, so where did your... we got a bit off track, talking about property development in the Alps. But how did your journey through the ski instructor qualification system, how and where did that take you?
Yeah, it's a bit of a sort of weird story, really. I spent some time growing up in South Africa as a kid,
right?
From the age of 6, and I saw it. We were in a shopping centre, and there was a rotating carpet. This was back in 76, 77, I would imagine.
Okay.
And I remember looking at it and saying to my dad, "What's that?" And he said, "It's skiing." And I said, "Oh, that looks fun." And he said, "Oh, forgot it."
Yeah.
And we moved back to the UK in about 1980, I guess. And I remember watching a documentary about skiing and ski instructors. And a couple of weeks or months later, whatever, we went to school and we got a piece of paper saying, you know, what do you want to do when you grow up? And I wrote, ski instructor.
No way.
I'd never been skiing, you know, I'd never really, I just liked the look of it, the life.
Yeah.
And I went to a parents-teachers meeting with the wonderful Miss Martin, and she basically said, "Don't be stupid, don't get a job in a Bangkok factory. You know, you need to classic, you know."
Same thing for me. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, London schooling. Yeah. Drop your dreams, go and be a brickie.
Yeah.
And you know, and I said, well, why? Oh, you got to learn to ski. You've got to learn other languages. Blah 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 blah. She was educating me in the sense, but not very positively.
Yeah.
I come from a very very basic, you know, family, London family. Mum and dad went to work, one car, and my dad said, "Okay, well, let's save up and send you skiing." And I went, and I just loved it. I absolutely loved it so much, as most people do.
Yeah. Where was that first ski trip, Scott?
Sorry?
Where was that first ski trip to?
That was in Valsenalas, in Italy.
All right. Okay.
And then 2 years later, I went to Montjean in the Portugal.
Okay.
And then I left school when I was 15, just turned 16, got a job in the print, and went on ski vacations throughout my apprenticeship as a printer. And then in 91 there was a recession and everything shut down, and I thought, well, stop this, I'm going ski. So I went to Cervinia, skied, had a great time, went to Verbier, skied, had a great time. Worked in the pub, Montfort, worked in number one sport, did a bit of ski bumming, you know, the normal stuff.
Yeah.
And then moved to Norway in 2004, and was working in a shop, a ski rental. And there, you know, so I kind of went in the other way with a lot of people that go into ski instruction, where they go on holiday, learn to ski and start going through their steps.
Yeah.
Whereas I've done 13, 14 seasons before I started my education.
Yeah.
So I really had a solid background of skiing, mostly off-piste free riding, and a lot of telemark. And so then I started my education with a system called the Norwegian Ski Academy, NSA.
Okay.
On my second course, I questioned the educator about, all going up for ISIA and stuff, and they said, "Oh no, we don't have ISIA. We're not ISIA affiliated."
Right.
And I said, "Well, what's this then?" And they said, "Oh, we're a sort of an association where we just educate ski instructors." And they've now changed the name to Norwegian Instructors and Guides, and it's NIG, known as NIG.
Right.
So I went through that system, and then I found that it didn't have any ISIA affiliation.
Yeah.
So then I met some guys from the Norwegian Ski School, the DNS,
Right.
and started my education with them. And I actually went in at Telemark.
Okay.
With my telemark education first,
Right.
and then took my Alpine over with me,
Yeah.
which I did my level 4 Alpine and level 4 telemark through the DNS, and then because of that ISIA affiliation, then I was able to transfer that over to IASI, and then also with that I did the conversion over to the Swiss as well.
For sure. Were you doing those exams in Norwegian?
It was a combination.
Right.
So I had to learn Norwegian pretty quick.
Yeah.
Which I'm now pretty much fluent.
Okay.
But they were very good at doing it and making it easy to understand.
Yeah.
Of course, most Norwegians speak very, very good English.
Yeah, they do, don't they? It's crazy.
And excuse me, on some of the latter courses, we had a few foreigners as well, so we were able to do quite a lot of it in English.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. All right. So that's how you then. Okay. So that's what got you into the ISIA, and then you converted also to the Swiss highest level, the brevet as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the Irish thing came about because I bumped into Pete Gillespie, who I knew from Verbier back in his days when he was there running his ski school, Warren Smith.
Yeah.
And they said, I think we met at Ski St Anton in 2011, and then we stayed in touch. And he said, we'd like to have telemark within the IASI system.
Yeah.
So I came in as telemark for an Alpine in the IASI system, which I now do both, but I'm still mainly telemark.
Yeah.
But I run a few Alpine courses here and there. And then the Swiss one was, I was actually thinking of maybe one day moving back to Switzerland, so I went and got that qualification.
Yeah.
Just to secure that, and also if you go down there to hold a course, it's much easier.
Yeah. Which route did you convert it by? Did you do the government kind of conversion route, or did you go and do the Swiss Snow Sports conversion?
I did the government route.
Okay.
I did actually sign up for the snow sports conversion one, but there was some date issues and I couldn't do it. So in the end, I took the government route.
Yeah.
Which was very long-winded,
isn't it?
But,
you got to send them a lot of bits of paper.
Got there in the end. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Wow. All right. So that's excellent. And then. So then, presumably, as part of that's how you got involved in the ISA, is because they needed someone to be training telemark as well. And that's kind of it seems to me that's one of the routes that you followed. So as well as working within the ski school in Norway, you're also jetting off to go and do courses for IASI as well, to run courses for them.
Yeah, we've done. I hold one every year. I think this year will be the 10th or 11th year at Hemel Hempstead, where we do a level. Done one in Hintertux as well. We tried to do one here, but I got COVID on day one.
Oh no! Right? Yeah.
That was great. That was.
Yeah, I was just saying.
Everyone flew over, and the weather was amazing, and the snow was amazing.
Oh my god!
And I got COVID. And I've done some Alpine runs. We've done a couple here. Me and Alan Smith went to Georgia to do a level one, which was really cool.
I saw that, yeah.
And so, yeah, it's mainly Telemark, but I do an Alpine here.
Yeah. This, of course, is how we came across each other, because I would have really liked to have come to the one that you were running in Hintertux, but I just can't get away from here for the number of days that the course was running for, which is a shame, because I need a bit more time. I think it will come, because I wanted to do that course principally for, I don't need to do it, but I would have really liked to have done it just to kind of educate myself. That's what this podcast is about. It's just to kind of speak to people and find out a little bit more about what people do and how they do it. And I was dead keen, because I love to telemark, as the listeners know, and I would love to know a little bit more about the mechanics of it, because at the moment I'm kind of discovering it myself. I did my number one, but with Joe Beer, but they're kind of, but that was a long time ago, and I don't really remember all the technicalities of it. And this year I had the opportunity to teach it, and I don't know if it's probably different in Norway, but the opportunity to teach someone telemark are few and far between here in the Swiss Alps, and it's really different, very different.
I mean, in relation to the opportunities to teach, I think I by default put myself out of work, because I think I've probably educated more instructors than I've actually given lessons.
Yeah, exactly that, right? Yeah. Yeah.
And also, I look at it in it. I mean, anyone can take the course, of course, but when you're doing the nichest of the disciplines for the Irish,
well, you've got to make your own work then in that situation. That's why you're creating courses, right? Because you just have to create it yourself. No one's going to knock on your door, are they?
No, but no, we have people all over. A couple of years ago, we had 5 Italians turned up that needed their stamp for their brevet federale.
Yeah.
And these 5 Italians turned up and did the week's course in Hajfell. It was amazing.
Right.
So, my pidgin Italian from back in the day, and 2 of them could speak, pretty good English. So it was a real eclectic mix of people,
I can well imagine.
We've had Norwegians, Swedes, Germans, all sorts, Spanish. Yeah. Of course.
It's. I mean, the way that I see it, that it sort of rolls out in the Alps, is that I think telemark becomes something that people do when they're kind of a bit done with alpine skiing, or they need to slow down a bit, or because maybe they've got young kids or whatever. But or they're skiing, with their wife, and they want to slow down so that they can ski together or something. That's a huge sweeping generalization. Might be the other way around, but anyway, the point is, before you all email me, but it strikes me as it's something that people they strap on some telemark gear and they just go and try and work it out themselves. Because they can ski, so they figure, it might. How hard can it be, or how different can it be?
How hard can it be?
But actually, it's bloody.
It is a wake up,
isn't it?
Yeah, I think one of the things that I see the most is that I see a lot of ski instructors that can telemark, but they're not educated, and you see what they're doing, but what they're saying doesn't correlate with what they're doing. You know, there's this thing about stepping backward, or you don't, you step forward.
Yeah.
You know, there's things about rotation, you know, point your body down the hill. Well, that was when we had leather boots and straight skis.
Exactly.
With NTN and modern equipment, you can go more within the same respect as a pair of carbon skis. You can follow the tips. Of course, there's a bit more rotation going on generally in Telemark, but you are still more direct than you know, rotated, counter-rotated downhill.
Yeah.
So you often hear and see a lot of bad information coming from people that can telemark, but because they haven't been educated.
Yeah, they're telemarking, but they don't necessarily know how or why they're doing it.
Yeah. And the hows and the whats and the whys are the thing that you need to get across. Yeah.
Also, the other thing that I think in my limited, you know, number of hours of trying to teach telemark was that you've also got there's a commitment to it. There's a commitment to the move, right? And not everyone wants to go to that place. No. They need that security of the boot fixed in the binding, and it's a very weird thing. You try and put yourself into the client's position. It's a very weird thing to end up in the stance, essentially. And they don't want to commit. You know, you see it, the heel comes up and it goes straight back down again. It's like, I think
it's the same as, you know, you're trying to get someone who's trying to get to the next level, to get them on alpines to commit to project into the turn.
Yeah.
You know, to get on that early tip, to get the hips up and across, so that you can set that early edge. Well, you do that on telemarks, but you've also got two loose heels.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah.
It's another cat fish.
I do remember at some point Joe was very into hi Joe if you're listening, but he was very into taking still pictures, and he'd often take still pictures in the transition, and you'd actually see people who had two heels off the ground, like very momentary. But if you've got the move right, actually there is a moment where you're on the balls of your feet, essentially.
Absolutely spot on. I mean, I do more video, but with today's video, you can stop and get such a clear picture.
Yeah.
But that, for me, is the point where you can see, you know, if your heels are up an inch or so, then you've projected, you've set the edges, and you're moving across. So Joe's absolutely right there. I've skied with Joe. And he definitely knows what he's doing.
I had a couple of days with him where it was just me and him, and I was just following him, just like a magician. Just made it look so easy, like he's walking down the hill. Just like how you're doing this. But I kind of understand. I'm starting to understand it a little bit better now, because my habit, because I kind of like the feeling of the turn, is that I always hang on to the turn too long. I'm doing this like styly thing. It's like, I love this. Like, I love being I love being here. But actually, it's similar to Alpine, right? You don't want to hang on to the turn too long. It's like, no, you've got to go into the next one. You've got to go. And that lack of hesitation is then what takes you to the next level. That's certainly how it is for me, anyway.
It's also that's the heaviest point of the turn. Telemark turns hard enough as it is.
Yeah.
So the minute you over rounding the turn or rounding the turn off, that's where it starts to get heavy on the thighs.
Yeah.
So releasing the turn at the optimum point and using the external forces, and also the because you are lower, and then the release when you come upwards, that is quite energy saving. That's something to be aware of.
Do you? Sorry for all the Alpine listeners who were boring to death with this, but are you more of a what would we call it, like Canadian versus a Norwegian style? Are you a low guy or are you a high guy? How do you do it? I'm
very much horses for courses. I save energy when I can, and if I have to go low, I go low. So I really use a full range of movement. So I use end-to-end stuff, which is the new, they call it new Telemark norm, but it's not that new anymore. It's maybe 20 years old. So it's a bigger, beefier boot and binding, and technique in all sports wins. So if you have a solid technique, then you use less energy. Of course, I go low when need be and stay high when I can. I'm 54 now, so.
There's only so long that you can. I see some people going around and take it to extremes, and they're doing this sort of low, mega low thing, like neon ski thing, all day. It's like, wow, it doesn't need to be that for one, but fair play to you for doing it. But I need, because it gives your legs a momentary chance to kind of get rid of the what do you call it, lactic acid or whatever, as you pop up through the transition. So I'm kind of I wouldn't say I'm low, certainly I'm more of a high skier, but my legs and ankles just don't want to go that low. They couldn't do it if they tried. So cool. So
I think just one last thing about it. I mean, in relation to what you were talking about with the ice skates as well, it gives you a different feeling and a balance point over the ball of your feet. And even going to get Telemark stuff and going alpine skiing for a couple of hours will improve your alpine skiing, because it definitely puts you in a different place. It teaches you to use the equipment, flex your ankles properly, so that you're not falling back on your heels. You can't get pushed back in the same way because you don't have that support that you do now. So it really fine tunes the balance over the middle of your feet. So it's something everyone should try. You don't even have to really tell them off, but hey, you might enjoy it.
No, absolutely. I mean, that is a real thing. I think it's very easy. I had it for years, so I've recently changed my boots. I'm now in a Lang RS boot, which it's got a much more flexible cuff, even though it's stiffer. But for years I was in a Head Raptor boot, and you could just lean on the front of that all day long. And my style developed as a result, or developed it, I would say, not in a good direction from the strength of the cuff of that boot, because you can literally lean on it. You can kind of look like Michael Jackson all day, doing the lean, because it just doesn't go anywhere. And so you're not concentrating on being centered above the middle of your foot. You're just being lazy, and you're just sort of hanging there. You can need that for a long day of teaching, for sure. But I very much noticed it with the new boot that allows a lot more flexibility. Although it's stiffer, it goes further and more progressively. And it does feel a little bit more like a skate, where you can't lean on the front of the skate. It's all ankle. And you really notice actually how reluctant my knees are to bend these days when you're on a skate. Skiing and teaching in Norway then. So we touched a little bit on the skiing, like what it's like. I would say more rounded hills, a bit more like Scotland, looks a bit more like Scotland.
Yeah, similar to Scotland.
They're old mountains, aren't they, in Norway? That's why they're not all jaggedy, which is what the Alps are. But how does teaching look in Norway? Like, you work within a ski school is it Hafjell?
Hafjell, yeah.
And sorry for my terrible pronunciation.
That's okay.
And how does that go? Like, what does it look like? Do you have busy seasons? Is it the same as the Alps? What are the main differences compared to, say, a winter in Verbier?
Well, I think that it's a very, very family-based way of skiing. We get a lot of Danish people, because it's obviously just a short drive, or short boat trip and then a short drive.
Okay.
For many of them. We're starting to get more Germans, more Dutch. We're starting to get a lot more Brits,
right?
Because of the great work of Norway, home of skiing, at the ski shows and stuff. And people are starting to understand that there is skiing in Norway. But we have our lessons are pretty much done an hour and a half. You can get 3 hours and all day if you want, but we do hour and a half at a time. The ski school is quite small. It's privately owned, but there's just the one ski school.
Okay.
And we have about 28 instructors, 55 IASI.
All right.
Mainly level 1s and 2s, coming from many different systems. Some from this league system, some from the Danish system, few from the Norwegian system, and we've had some other foreigners. And we teach, like again, most ski schools, I would say 80% is beginners and children and intermediates, and then the other 20% is other disciplines and advanced.
Yeah.
I don't do the kids anymore because I'm 54 and I don't speak children Danish or Scandinavian. But we've got 20, 22-year-olds that can take after that, and it's not that I'm I'm too good for that. But as we know, in the ski school system, we move on and move up.
Yeah, you do. You've got to do the hard yards, right? I've been talking about this a common theme in the last few years for certainly me with the ski school and indeed themes that we've talked about on the podcast, and it's the same thing, which is like you've got to go and do those hard yards in order to get to where you are, which is because you build up a knowledge base, and when someone comes to you and says, hey, I want to know more about more advanced stuff, as well, you know it based on the depth of your experience and knowledge. That's you've got to go and pick up the little ones, because that's how you learn. Yeah.
I mean, in any job, you always start off as the T-boy.
I think so. Although, I mean, this is the other thing, though, that there is an argument that you put your best coaches on the youngest people. But I don't know how you balance that off, because arguably those kids are the ones that need the best base.
Yeah.
But you can't have old Mr. I do it from time to time. I've got a picture up here of me teaching every now and then I'll pick like a 3 or 4 year old. I'll be right, I'm teaching that one just to keep an eye in, But I don't know how you do that, apart from I suppose the way that you would do it is you pass your knowledge on to that younger pool of instructors and make sure that they know a lot of the stuff that you know.
I mean, we're quite heavy on internal workshops. The minute I get a chance to follow an instructor or have one of them follow me, I do individual teaching or small group teaching with the instructors throughout the season. The minute I can say, you guys are off this afternoon, let's go out and go over your ski, ask questions, and try and make sure that we're all on the same page. I think delivering a product is it's nice to have a seamless transition. People come back the following year, got the same message. Shouldn't be going up when it should be going down. Blah blah.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, cool. All right. So there are the holidays largely in line with like Euro holidays? Yeah. So you get the same busy periods.
Yeah, Christmas, and then there's some differences, as we know. The Swedes come the week after Christmas. The Danes and Norwegians come during or before.
Okay.
Winter holidays are mid-February to the start of March, those 3 weeks. Easter in Scandinavia is just the 1 week, and we're starting to see that there's more Brits coming out because the Brits get 2 weeks.
And you've got decent snow still then, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the other thing. I mean, like I say, my experience, and I've seen some of your, I don't know, you were posting on April 16th on your Facebook, it's immaculate conditions in Hajfell, and it's like, wow. That was my experience. That's exactly mirrored my experience, which is when I went there, the snow was immaculate. I couldn't believe it. And it all day. Yeah.
I mean, if I don't know if you can post up text or stuff, but if the listeners want to go in to YouTube and just look up We Free Ski Telemark channel, I've just done some very simple instructional videos. They're very short, but you can really see the terrain and you can really see the quality of the snow.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of good stuff in Norway if you want to come here and learn to ski, because one of the great things that we have that is hardly ever mentioned is the altitude.
Yeah.
The bottom is 175 meters.
Yes.
The top is 1,006.
Yeah.
So you're already 500 meters below Verbier.
Yes.
So you're starting with, and by the time you get to the bottom, you're at home altitude.
Yeah.
It's an altitude you're used to.
Yes.
I mean, I live in the mountains. Last week I was in Verbier, walking up the hill to the chalet, 1,600 meters. I was absolutely knackered.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
So it's a great thing, if you've got your 1 or 2 weeks skiing here, you can do as much training as you like, but it doesn't prepare you for the altitude.
No, it doesn't.
And that's one thing we have here. And the consistency of the snow from top to bottom is generally the same.
Yeah. No, it was like I say, my experience is absolutely incredible, and also, I do remember the home run down there. It comes down and you literally ski back to your car. Jump in the car and you're off. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So that's a relatively, for like a one main resort ski school, it's relatively small then.
Yeah.
If you're 28 full time going up to peak season 55 odd.
Yeah. I think we have I think the maximum capacity in the lifts that they've had, I can check it, I think it's around 9,000 people on the busiest of day.
Okay.
Sometimes we have, 500 people in the lifts.
Yeah.
So
there's not.
So I guess January before, the start of February, that's when people are going off and doing, further education, getting another course here, there and everywhere, or whatever. So the ski school does thin out a little, but once February starts, then we're in full drift.
And so for you then, during those times where it's not peak season, so January and March, is that when you'll go off and do courses for IASI and stuff and run courses?
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah. Because that's always, I was speaking to someone about this yesterday, that's the trickiest thing about running a ski school, is trying to fill out the months where it's not peak season. And if you can't do that somehow, either personally or as a school director, you really struggle. Anyone can run a ski school that only runs at Christmas, New Year, Easter and Feb half term. But you've got to have something else within January and March, either that you generate yourself, like going to run courses for IASI, or the school itself has got to generate something. You might have ski days for local schools or that kind of stuff, but you've got to fill out that time, otherwise you kind of, it really limits what's possible as a school.
Yeah. I think one of the benefits of what we do as well is that the ski instructors do like to ski, so in the low season they don't mind getting a few hours off here and there.
Yeah.
But it's generally, as a rule, we're normally quite busy. We're very good at limiting the numbers, so we'll make smaller groups to make sure that the instructors actually get their hours.
Oh, that's cool.
We won't just fill them up.
No.
So it's okay, right, well, Bob, Steve and Jeff, you've got lessons, but you three don't.
Yeah.
So we spread them out, so I think it's beneficial for the guests and the instructors. So
everyone wins in that situation, don't they?
Yeah.
There's no sense. I think we see it often here. You see groups like roaming around with 10 kids behind them or something. It's like, well, one of those kids is probably learning, maybe 2 if you're lucky. The rest are just following around. They're not getting anywhere.
We have 4 kids per instructor under the age of 5.
Okay.
5 under the age of 7, 6 under the age of 8, and then 8 under the age of 10, and that's it.
So 8's the maximum.
Very rarely do we break 8. It's only if we, are high season, maybe got an injured or a sick instructor that we have to put some groups together, but we'll try to keep 8 maximum in the adult groups as well.
Yeah. That's important, right? It's important for the instructor and also, the client, right? You say the client, find small groups, but also for the instructor, it's hard enough to would you say under 5s? There's only 4. I mean, that's enough under 5s.
Yeah,
it's well enough.
Yeah.
No, for sure. That's really cool. And just to go back to the main differences between the European Alps as we know it and Norway, quieter, probably arguably less steep, but more like flowing hills. Are there any other things that we would sort of touch on when we're talking about Norwegian skiing?
I think there's always been this stigma about everyone goes, oh, it's £10 for a pint. Because that used to be the thing in Norway. Yeah. But now the Norwegian kroner is quite weak. It's 14 to £1 at the moment.
Is it?
I've never really known. So it's incredibly cheap to come here.
What happened?
Oil, I guess.
Right. Okay.
There's an economic underlying we won't go into.
Yeah. Let's not bore everyone with that.
Yeah. The lift pass is cheaper.
Yeah.
Ski school, I think, is actually cheaper. The quality of accommodation that you get is better. You're not shoved in a little tiny French or Swiss hotel room.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know Italy, it's a bit different. I was there just last week, but I'm again referring to Verbier. But if you go to Verbier, Val d'Isère, Maribel, any of the big resorts. A pint of beer is 9-10 euros now.
Yeah.
A pizza is 20 plus euros.
Don't get me started on the 20 franc pizza debate.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. And whereas here, food and drink is Norwegian prices. It's more expensive. But where you're going to save money is on your lift pass accommodation. Travel to get to Oslo is so simple. Train line directly into Lillehammer motorway straight in. It's really simple to get here. And I think that if you have a budget, if you go, right, I'm going to spend $1,000, for example, you're going to get more for your money.
Yeah.
Great snow, less people, a unique environment. What have you gone for? You've gone to go skiing, haven't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely, right. Yeah.
So I think that's the differences.
Yeah. No, it's, I mean, like I said, that exactly mirrors my experience when I was there, and I thought it was brilliant. Really, really good. Okay, and so what have you got, before we move on to kind of any other business or some other stuff, but what have you got planned? Is your schedule already fixed for the kind of the autumn to come? Have you got courses in the diary already?
We're in the middle of putting all the calendar together. I am going to be doing the Telemark in October in Hajfell, and then I'll maybe do one in Hinstux with Pete Gillespie or Ali. That's not confirmed yet. And then I generally hop in where I can. I don't like to really book myself in until might have one in Bakira.
Okay.
And so there's a few, but having a family as well, it's hard to get away that much.
I hear that.
But otherwise, I'm like you, I mean, my position in the school is technical director, so I kind of have to be there most of the winter. And then, so mine's normally early season, late season, and maybe a week away for the season.
Yeah. Is that one that you're going to do in Tux? Is that going to be a level 2 again?
I'm not sure whether there's a level 1 and level 2, and it depends on where they want to put me.
Right.
So, and then we've got the IASI educators training that we're going to do, and there's a couple of telemark events I'd like to go to as well. So it's finding time.
Slotting it all in the winter. Tell me more. I didn't realise you were the technical director of the school that you're at. What does that entail? Like, what's on the your list of responsibilities for that?
Well, I get a lot, as we all do. We get a lot of instructors from different systems, different age groups, and making sure that everybody understands the Hafjell Ski School philosophy. But we're all delivering the same thing. So if you're taking over somebody else's lesson for whatever reason, but you're delivering the same product, and doing a workshop every Wednesday evening, going through the basics. So I make sure that we go through the basic progression from never ski to carving turns, for example.
Yeah.
And we go over that. I try to, in that time as well, try to give them different ways that you can teach the different things, because they've come out of the level 1 or level 2 course. They've had a lot of information, and so therefore just trying to maybe put it in simpler terms or reignite that train of thought that they had on the course. Generally look after them, answer their questions, and try and make them better skiers, both for themselves and for our guests.
In what system are you teaching that, though? Are you is it like you're just giving the general progression, because they're all essentially the same, aren't they? There's not that much difference between DNS, IASI, BASI. We're all talking about the same stuff. But
I think that for me it's more about that we're all delivering the basics the same, because as we know, there's many ways to do a snowplow. There's the old way, what I call the old way, which goes from being on longer skis, where there was the compression, turn and then release, whereas now we're more extending into the turn and coming out. So that we're all delivering the same thing. It's not that I say I don't care what you've learned. I'm saying here I would like this done. And so I would like this turn, this message to be delivered, and so.
It's and I suppose, have you got people in your ski school who are coming from different perspectives? So you've got people who are educated in different systems, or are they all mainly in the Norwegian route?
Like I said, I have Swedish, Norwegian, Danish, and then we've got the other ones, the non-IASI affiliated instructor groups. They're good courses,
But do you?
And then I put them all together and say, let's do it like this.
Okay, all right. Because that's the thing. I mean, that's some of the interesting things that I've noticed, because we've got people qualified in all sorts of different systems, and we get some really interesting perspectives at our trainings. You might have someone coming. There's a guy I'm going to interview fairly soon, called Steve Heineman, who works with us occasionally, and he comes in with like a PSIA perspective on some stuff, and a couple of things that he has said to me in the past has just been absolutely like mind-blowing. So just do this. Why haven't I thought of that? I haven't heard that before. And that's really, I find those things are the most interesting things. It's like the different, we're all doing the same things. We've just got a bunch of different labels, but essentially there are, every now and then, something pops up that you hadn't thought of before, or you hadn't seen before, or a perspective that you hadn't seen before. And it's always really, I find that quite interesting when you have like internal training,
Yeah, I think that we can always learn from someone else, and that's the great thing about doing a CPD. Just to have that input from try this or do this, whether it's a what do we call that? In Norwegian for a contrast exercise. Do the opposite to create a point. And I think that having that, especially from another system, but I'm also very open to the instructors. I say, well, what did you do on your course? Okay, let's try that. Let's see how it works. I'm very much not, we're going to teach the DNS or the IASI way or the Swiss way. It's more of a combination, a blend of what I think is the way I would like school to be simple.
Yeah, and also I suppose that's your job, is it, to bring it all together and work out just like a general theme or a thread that goes through everyone and everything, so it's roughly consistent across all the instructors. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Not an easy job.
No, it can be a bit challenging because you always have one or two that say, well, in my course we learnt this.
Yeah.
Right, and that's why I say I don't care.
Yeah. Well, just try this. Try another way. Be all right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you're fairly active, well, certainly on Facebook, from what I can see. I am not personally on Instagram. I don't see the point of it. The ski school is, and Jim looks after that. What do you see that's... I do follow an amazing... I can't remember what it's called now. I haven't got the ability to look it up. I follow some lovely Telemark groups or channels. One in particular, I can't remember the name of it, but there's one on Facebook that is probably on Instagram too, that sets telemark skiing, like does a whole bunch of kind of follow cam telemark ski stuff to kind of quite low key gangster rap, which is excellent. I can't remember what, I think it's called like New School Telemark or something.
Yeah,
and it's a really good. That I love that when stuff from them follows up. But do you see much cool stuff on social media that you like or don't like?
There's a lot I like. There's a lot I don't like. I think that ski instructors and ski teachers were already a bunch of egotistical whatsits. So giving narcissism a free run. Instagram especially has allowed us to do that, and there's a bunch of them out there that they show stuff that doesn't relate to 99% of people skiing. It's just, how close can I get my hip to the snow? When are we going to actually go back to just throwing skiing? There's a bunch of them. I won't name them personally, but they know who they are. It's all come up. Fisher RSGS 30-meter radius, blah blah blah, flex boots. And I don't care. Why are you showing all of these things? And all it is someone coming down a perfectly green slope, normally a blue run. There's one particular guy who's just skied down blue runs, and all he does is put his hip on the snow. I think that it's giving, like the internet does, a very, very false picture of what's achievable. It takes a great, and well done to be able to do that. But I'm very much for, function over form. Of course you need good form, it needs to be functional to be able to do it. But at the same time, let's look at what's functional. It's, this whole hip on the snow thing, like I said, I'm 54 now. I don't want to do that. Can I do it? On occasion, it goes down, but not through a point of just trying to get it down in every turn. And that's one thing about Instagram, the Instagram skiers that come up. That bugs me a bit. I say,
I think that I don't know whether you can. There's a few things I think that you can unpack from that, but I think certainly with. I mean, I've had this conversation a lot of times with my technical director Max, who thinks that, or used to think that, I don't know whether he still does, but that our Instagram channel or social media channel should be full of amazing images of us skiing. And we've had the conversation over and over, which, in my personal view, is that that's not what we're selling.
No.
What we are selling, we as our ski school, not talking about whoever it is that's skiing around putting their videos on Instagram, and maybe they are selling to people that want to be able to do that, but they're few and far between in my experience. But we are selling ski lessons to people who want to get their kids better at skiing. Therefore, that image, the hip on the snow image, is not the image that we want to project. Not only that, furthermore, we're not selling that to the kid. We're selling it to the parent of the kid. That is who is paying the money. So the image that you really want in that scenario is of someone who is going to look after your kid and teach them how to ski. That's the photo you want, or the video that you want. It's not the video of look how amazing our instructors are. That doesn't make any difference to them. That's not what you're selling. It's not the product you're selling.
I mean, some of these guys and girls, they're earning a fortune because they've got, again, you've got the other side of Instagram that wants to be, they want to have this persona that, I'm skiing with this guy, or I'm going on, it's all about who you're skiing with and who you're with and where you are these days.
Yeah.
And that's great. People want to go and do that. But at the same time, you've got people that are looking at it and going, I don't know if I'm going to go to that ski school because that's unachievable, or
it's intimidating.
Yeah, it's highly intimidating. So, one of the things we deal with, and what I think also one of the hardest markets to crack, are the people that have skied for 10 years and think they can get around, and shall I get another lesson? And then maybe they go and they look, and then all they're seeing is these massively clanked hip dropping turns. And that can put you off as well. So I'm not big on this whole image of just high performance turns on whatever meter radius you want to show me in your text while you're making those turns down the blue run. It is a good way to market yourself.
Well, furthermore, I'd heard from a pretty good source about some of the people that we are probably talking about the same people, that a lot of those videos are sped up. So you can take a video, and I know this because I did some GoPro stuff on my motorbike, because I had an idea that I was going to record some of the rides that I do, and then just for like a sort of information channel about where these places are and what they look like. When you go into the edit process, you can get away with speeding a video up by about 0.8 and it still looks realistic. But if you've got a keen eye for some of these videos, you can see they might have made a mistake and made it look too quick or whatever. I saw one the other day, I was like, that has definitely been sped up. It's like now you're in the realms of lying to people. Right? You get the hip on the ground, that's fine. You can see it, right? You can't edit that. Maybe you can, I don't know. But to pretend to be skiing at that level when you are not going that fast is a whole different level. And you're selling a falsehood to people there, and that's not cool. But yeah, I don't know, but there is another side to this, Scott, which I don't really understand, because I don't really know how to monetize social media that well. I use it, our funnel is what it is, which is the purpose of trying to sell ski lessons. But, we had Tom Gelly on recently because of his Instagram following. There's a ski resort in Japan that's contacted him and brought him over to ski as a face of the resort. I mean, so there's clearly a reason for doing it.
Yeah, I mean, clearly, it appeals to the public, and that is where the money is. And I think that I'm being critical because, how do you say it? Because I'm looking at what's being done, and I understand what's being done. I understand what it takes to do that, and the techniques behind it.
Sure.
And I think that most people will just look at it and go, "Wow," whereas the 2 or 3% who actually understand it look at it and go, "Why are you doing that?"
Yeah.
So we now know. I mean, we only have to look at the Olympics at the moment. The way that it's changed. It has to be Red Bull fireworks. Monster. As a telemark is not in the Winter Olympics. Why? Because it doesn't have the same rock and roll as big air and free riding.
Yeah.
It doesn't sell to the kids. So therefore, that's the same thing. People are very, very plastic, and they love a like. That looks good. That looks good. That looks good. Whereas what are we actually doing? What are we actually selling? Isn't getting the clicks.
No, it's not. I guess it's an avenue, isn't it? It's one way of going about your business of marketing yourself, and some people are really, really into that. I think what comes with that is you've got to know what product you're selling. If you're selling that and your goal is to become famous, then fine, right? That's what you do, but don't dress it up as something else that it's not.
Yeah, and they're all doing it. So I guess must work somewhere. Maybe it's just me being old.
Well, there's something else in that, isn't it? I mean, I don't know. I'm sitting here baffled. We've just downloaded, or we're working on a new piece of software that's going to enable us to get in touch with our clients better. And it's taken me, honestly, Scott, it's taken me weeks to work out how to use this thing. But this morning, I think I cracked it like a little bit. I managed to move one thing here where it's supposed to be and create another list over here. And I'm like, whoa, this is amazing. But the pace of change in modern life is just leaving me for dead. Absolutely leaving me for dead. And the more and more I'm only 47, but I feel like I'm getting left behind, like big time. I'm going back to this afternoon, hopefully, if it's fixed. I'm going to go and pick up a motorbike that's been in the shop for a little while. It's my favourite one because it's completely analogue. Doesn't do anything digital at all. It's got a choke. Yeah. Right? Pull it, for you kids who don't know what a choke is, pull it out, adds a bit more fuel into it, and then it starts. And, I can't wait to get it back because it doesn't do anything. It's got a switch where you can turn the light onto high beam or low beam. That is it.
I had to teach my daughter how to put a CD on yesterday.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. She put it in upside down.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. You wait till you get to tapes.
Here's a pencil.
Yeah. Oh, my God, yeah. People won't know what that is. That's for sure. Okay, cool. Well, look, while we're ranting, two old men just shouting at the wind, if people want to ski with you or do things that you're doing, where could they find you? Where should I point them at in the notes?
Well, you can always go onto the We Free Ski channel, and I do have a website called we-freeski.com.
Okay.
That's a way to contact me.
Yeah.
Or you go to Hafjell Ski School and book me there. So when I'm in Hajfell, I work for them.
Yeah.
If I'm running courses, then I do that myself.
All right. Cool. Well, I'll direct people there, and hopefully you'll get a bunch of Telemark channel likes and subscribers or whatever it is that people want, and go that way. That'd be really cool. I'm pretty sure I'm subscribed to that one. If not, I'm going to be in about 2 minutes. So good. Scott, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me. It's been brilliant.
Thank you for having me along. It's been a pleasure. I've been listening to your podcast for some time, and it's nice to hear the insights from other people in the industry.
Yeah, it's kind of what it's for. So I'm pleased we could have you on. Thank you, mate.
Cheers, mate. Speak to you soon.